Hey guys, today we'll be learning an automation that allows you to create beautiful GIFs using Luma Labs Dream Machine and send it right to your inbox just like this. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so what are we exactly going to build today? First of all, we'll start off by learning how to create a simple web app like this that allows you to upload your own images or describe your dream GIF through text. And last but not least, if you do have customers, you can get them to make payment and submit it via this app form. Once this is done, we're going to create a powerful make automation sequence that will run the input that's either text or images from a previous form through this workflow and generate the GIF sent right to your email just like this. So take a look at this, right? This email is a simple template that I have created, and I have also generated this GIF just from text by keying to the form that I want an Asian princess to be looking out of the window in awe. So this is what we want to get, beautiful and brilliant. So why is this workflow so powerful, right? First of all, if you're a creator yourself or you want to use it for fun, you can use it to create fun and exciting GIFs either through your own images or bring your ideas to life through text, through that form itself, and you can use all these GIFs for new social media content that you would like to post for your own business or for your own fun creative purposes. But if you're looking to create a business just like me, you can use a simple web app like this to help other people or other businesses create GIFs or AI videos, and you can charge them a fee at the end of it. And all these can be done relatively quickly and get your service kicked off the ground right away. So the potential is really limitless here, and so without further ado, let's get right into the building of it. Right, to first start off, we're going to create this web app. So the first place we're going to go to is Tally. Tally is a beautiful form creator that allows us to create interactive forms in a format just like Notion. So it's very intuitive and very powerful. Alright, so let's take a look at an example that I have created. Okay, as you can see over here, this is a simple form that I have created. So we'll start off by adding our title. And I thought one title that would be cool for GIF would be Ready, Set, GIF, right? So let's put that in as the title. And very quickly from here, if you want to add in any details throughout the form, you just have to type / and you can have all the different drop down boxes that you want to add in, such as short answer, long answer, multiple choices, checkbox, and so on and so forth. And so the first thing I want to create for this form is a multiple option choice. And so how I am going to do it is to type / and I'm going to find the multiple choices. And from here I can type in image, I can type in text, and I can give it a title as well, such as create a GIF from. Okay. And from here you can select whether you want it to be required or not. So it's very simple, very intuitive. You can change the settings by clicking onto this at the side. And you can choose whether is it a default answer, other options, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we want to keep it simple. The first one we're going to do is to create a multiple choice, whether is it for the user to upload an image or to use text, right? So the next one we're going to add in is upload a file. So how to add in this section is very simple. We're going to type / and we're going to choose file upload. And over here you can just write in your title, upload your images. Okay, and moving forward, we're going to add in some conditional logic for this, right? For example, if a user wants to upload an image, we want it to show only this. And if the user doesn't want to upload an image and choose text instead, we want it to go to the next step, which is to describe the ideal GIF via text. Okay, and so you just have to click the button over here at the side, add conditional logic. And once that is done, we're going to choose when create a GIF from is upload your own image. We're going to show this block, upload your image, and file upload, right? And similarly at the bottom, we're going to choose when create a GIF from is text. Then we're going to hide blocks, upload your image, file upload. And so for this section to be shown here, we want to create the rest of the tab. Next one adding is this text submitter form. And from here, we're just going to type / and click short answer, and that's how we have it. And similarly, we're going to create a conditional logic where create a GIF from is describe your dream GIF and text. And then we'll show this block. And if it's not, and it's upload your own images, then we're going to hide this block. Right, so very simple, very easy. The next one I'm adding is the email tab. So same thing here, we're going to type / and then we're going to find email and add that in. Okay, and lastly, the name, same thing here. So we're going to type / and then we key in short answer, and that's where we have it. Beautiful. Okay, and once it's done, the last part is the coolest, where if you want to service a client or you want to use this as your simple web app, your simple MVP to test out a product, you can add in the payment form itself, right? And so all you got to do is type / and then you just find payment over here, and it's connected to Stripe, so it's very easy. You can key in your value over here, let's say $5 or $1, and then you just connect it with Stripe. Okay, and once that is done, you'll have something like this, right? And then you can select to choose whether it's required or not. But for this example, because we're going to test it a couple of times, we will keep it as non-required. So once it's done, very simply, we can just click publish, and that's all we gotta do. Okay, perfect. And here we have it, our form. Okay, we're gonna click share, and we're gonna come back here later to get the embedded form for our site. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is to create our own site, right? And one of the places that I find that's most effective is card.co. Card allows us to create beautiful websites at ease within a couple of minutes, and they have a multitude of templates for us to use from. I've created a very simple template over here, but you can check out all the different options that they have over here that is beautiful to really beautify your web app to your own liking. And so coming back, I'm going to use this very simple example today just to showcase how it works. So let's take a look at this over here. So I do have a very simple site, and I have a simple title, ready, set, GIF, a simple copy, and the bottom over here I've added this thing called embed, and this is where our tally form will come in. So very simple, and you can run it right away. So how do I add that in? You can click this plus button over here, add an element, you can add text, images, and all the other options, and I'll add in an embedded code over here. Right, once I have the embedded code, okay, this is where I want to add in the HTML code from Tally to make sure that the form works. So how do I do that? Is to go back to Tally, and I'll find embedded form, so you can choose standard, and I'll keep it as transparent background, and here's a preview of how it looks like. Right, once I like it, I'll click get the code, and I will copy the HTML code over here, and I'll go back to card, and I'll paste it over here, and once that is done, I'll click done, and I'll save it, and I'll publish changes, and once it's published, I can view my site. So let's take a look, and that's where we have it. We have our site ready to go. So this is a very simple, very quick example of a simple web app. You can add in other information, other details to help you enhance your landing page, but it's something that we can do very quickly within a couple of minutes and get it off and running that you can send to your clients right away, or you can use it right away for your own self as well. Okay, once it's done, we're going to go into the automation workflow on Make. And this is where we're going to create a full body of our automation workflow that allows us to generate the images from the form and send it directly to our email right away. First of all, we're going to create a new scenario, and for this new scenario, I'm going to call it Flux X Dream Machine GIF Creator. Okay, once it's done, the first module I want to create is Tally. So I'm going to search for Tally, and I'm going to click Watch New Responses. I'm going to add a new webhook, and I'm going to find the form ID, which is the form that we have created earlier on, ready, set, GIF. And click Save, and click OK. Awesome, right? And so just to test this out, we're going to click Save. We're going to run once. We're going to come back to our web page, and let's add some information into it. So we'll choose text, and we're going to say, let's say a giant cake in the design of a rainbow dragon. Okay, we're going to add in a test Gmail. We're going to add in a name. We're going to skip payment and click submit. Okay, once this is done, you can go back to Make, and you can see it's received all the information that we want, the fields, and all that. So this is perfect, awesome. All right, and moving forward, the next thing we want to add in is a router. Okay, why do we want to add in a router is because we have two types of submission. One is image and one is text. So we're going to have a router that allows us to filter to either text or images. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to create the image through our text prompt. So we're going to use a very powerful text to image model, which is Flux Black Forest. Right, you can take a look over here. The input is really, really good and really high quality. So this is what we want for our GIF later on. Okay, and so to do so, you just have to create a replicate account and make sure you get your API tokens. Okay, you get this ready, you can go back to Make. All right, before we connect to Flux, we want to enhance the prompts. You can see over here the prompt that has been given is just a giant cake in the design of a rainbow dragon. But if you can enhance the prompts, the image that we get will be better as well. So this is where I'm going to add in my GPT agent to help us create the prompts. So first I'm going to go into OpenAI Assistants, and this is where you create a developer account to create different GPT agents to help you do different tasks such as prompt creation, JSON creation, and so on and so forth. Before we continue, you can check out all my resources below in the description to follow along more effectively. Also, if you want to learn how to prompt effectively, you can check out my other prompt guide tutorial to learn how I create GPT prompts like this. The first agent we want to create is our Flux JSON image prompter. Right, other than just creating effective prompts, we want it to also convert our output into a JSON format so Flux can understand and run it for us. So let's take a look over here. All right, this is a simple example that I have created. Right, I always start off by giving it a role. So I'll tell it that it's a JSON prompt generator designed to create structured JSON objects for use in Flux. Okay, I'll give it a following task, such as gathering the user input, collecting the following details, content description, and getting the prompts. Right, next up, I'll ask it to create a JSON prompt following this JSON object. Right, so this input itself is what we need to run through Flux. If you look at the Flux API, and we need to submit it with all the following informations, such as the prompt, the max length, the temperature, top P, number of return sequences, and so on and so forth. Okay, and the only thing we need to really change is the prompt over here. So we can type in something like insert constructed prompt, and this is where GPT is going to insert the prompt for us in the output. Okay, from here I also give it other information such as specifics, like how the output must contain only the JSON object so it can work properly. We want it to have consistent structure. We also give it some context, and what I found effective is to give it some examples, right? So I'll give it some examples such as if the user give a context such as a cake in the shape of a Darth Vader helmet, right? I'll give it an output example such as this JSON format, as well as a updated prompt, right? That makes the image generated even better, right? Such as a hyper-realistic chocolate cake shaped like a Darth Vader helmet, intricate details of the helmet grooves and panels, glossy chocolate icing with a reflective sheen, and so on and so forth. So this really enhances the image that we are going to be creating. And I give it a couple more examples as well to make sure that the model understands what we want. And lastly, I give it a couple of notes, and this is where I want to make sure to once again re-emphasize to only return the JSON output as the only output. Okay, once this is done, right, we're going to have this over here. We're going to save it. We're going to choose the model, and we're going to use GPT-4o for now, as I find it to be one of the most effective models today. And we're going to go back to our make automation. Okay, from here, we're going to add in a new module. And we're going to find ChatGPT, OpenAI, and we're going to message an assistant. And make sure to connect your API. And once you have that, we're going to message our assistant. We're going to find our Flux JSON image prompter, and we're going to give it a message as well. Okay, so besides the prompt, we want it to know the input that it is actually using to create a prompt, right? So we're going to tell it, create a prompt based on this user input. You're going to find the field, describe your ideal GIF, and this is the prompt that we have inputted through our form earlier on. We're going to give it once again another reminder to return only the JSON object as your output. Beautiful, and we're just going to rename this. So rename, and we'll call this our Flux image prompter GIFs. All right, the next module we're going to add in is where we're going to connect it to Flux. And so we're going to add in a HTTP module. We're going to make a request. We're going to type in a URL, and this URL is for the Black Forest model. So you can see over here, api.replicate.com, models, Black Forest Lab, 1.1 Pro, predictions. The method is going to be post, as we want to be generating the image for now. Okay, and the first item we're going to add in is the header. And we're going to add in the authorization. Okay, and this is where we're going to add in our API from Replicate. So we're going to type bearer, and this is where you're going to type in your API key. So make sure to keep that safe and type it in behind the bearer text. And once that's done, we're going to choose the body type, which is going to be raw. The content type is going to be JSON, and the request content is going to be the result from the Flux image prompter, and we're going to pass the response. Okay, and click done. Perfect. And over here, we're going to click save once again. We're going to run the module one more time to see what we get. So we're going to click run once, fill up the form again, test, submit, and let's see what happens. Okay, done, perfect. You can go back to Replicate and see if it's working. You can go back to dashboard, and you can see it's running the new model. So if you click ID over here, you can see it's generated the dragon cake that I wanted. So pretty cool and pretty beautiful. Okay, once this is done, we're going to go back to make automation, and we're going to add in the next module. And we're going to add in a sleep module this time. So this sleep module sometimes is for us to delay the time it requires to generate the image. Right? Sometimes it might take a few seconds, sometimes it might take longer. So for this simple example, I'm going to put 30 seconds. But if it requires more time for you, you can always increase the sleep to make sure it doesn't have any error when generating the images. Okay, once that is done, we're going to add in the next module, which is make a request once again, HTTP, make a request. And from here, this time we're going to download the image. So the URL, we're going to choose from the data. We're going to choose the URLs, click get, method is get. The header, once again, we're going to add in our API key. So authorization, bearer, and key in your API key on the side. Same thing for the bottom. The body type is raw, content type is JSON, and we can pass response and click OK. Done. Awesome. And let's change the name to help us better understand what's it for. Let's rename this to image generator. and let's call this image downloader. Perfect. Okay, next up we're gonna add in another one, which is a multiple variable tool. So we're gonna set multiple variables and we're gonna add item. We're gonna call this image, and we're gonna add in the variable value. You can find this in my resources below, but I'm gonna copy over a simple code. Okay, and I'm gonna add in the data output over here, which is 6 data output. For now, we don't have the information because we haven't run this yet, but later on when we run this module, we will be able to get it. Okay, so click OK, done. I'm gonna click save once again. We're gonna run the whole scenario to once again get the full image process done. Right, we're gonna click run once, go back to the form, fill it up again, text, you can choose a different one, test Gmail, test, click submit, let the workflow run. Okay, and everything is run perfectly, so we're good to go. Now let's move on to the next part. The next part we want to do is to animate the image that we have generated. So this is where we're going to use Luma Labs Dream Machine and their API. So Luma Labs is very powerful, and you can see over here the videos that they have created. It's very high quality. I really love using their API to generate AI videos. Right, so we're going to click API, and we're just going to create a new account. And once you have that, get your API key, and that's where we can start using it. So similarly, we're also going to create a GPT agent to help us create a prompt for animation. So once again, I've created another GPT over here called Dream Machine Animation Prompter. And you can see over here, I've given information on how to create beautiful prompts for the animation. Where I've given an example of the user input and the enhanced prompt that you can provide for us to generate beautiful animations. So once again, you can get access to all my prompts linked in the description below. So check that out and just copy them over. Okay, moving back to Make, we're going to add in a new module. OpenAI once again, message and assistant. And we're going to choose the assistant, which is the Dream Machine Animation Prompter. And we're going to add in a message over here. So we're going to ask it to create a prompt based on this user input. So same thing, it is the describe your ideal GIF input. And its goal is to create the best prompt that results in visually engaging and beautiful animations. Perfect, and the rest we can keep it empty and click OK and done. I'm going to rename this to Animations Prompter. Alright, so next up you know what we're going to do. Same thing, we're going to make a request to Luma to get the videos generated, and then we're going to download the videos. Okay, we're going to add in a HTTP module once again, make a request. The URL, we're going to add in this one from Luma Labs, api.lumalabs.ai Dream Machine v1 generations. We're going to choose post. Header, the first one we're going to add in is accept, and we're going to type value is application/JSON. The second header we're going to add in is the API. So you're going to type authorization, and the value is going to be bearer. And once again, type in your Luma Labs API. So copy that and add it in. Okay, and once that is done, you're going to add in the next one, which is the content type. And the value would be application/JSON as well. I'm going to scroll down to body type raw, content type, JSON, and then request content. You can copy over a JSON format for the animation. So here's one that I have. Right, we're just going to change this prompt to the animation prompter result, and the URL would be the image URL that we have gotten over here earlier on. Okay, over here you can see the frames, and once that is done, we're going to click OK, and we are good to go. Perfect. Same thing here, we're going to add in a sleep module. So we're going to find tools, sleep, give it a delay of maybe 60 seconds. Okay, and done. And let's change the name to create a video. Next thing we definitely need to do is, after creating a video, we want to download the video, right? So we're going to add in another one, HTTP, make a request, URL, and same thing here, we're going to add in a find code at the end. Because we haven't run the animation yet, the data doesn't have the ID, but we're going to add in the data ID. So you can just type bracket. We're going to find the HTTP for animation, which is number 9. So we're going to type number 9.data.id bracket. Okay, over here it's still transparent, but once we run it, we will have the information that we need. The method will be get, and same thing over here, the header, the first one is accept, and we're going to type in application/JSON. The second one we're going to have is the authorization, which is the API key, bearer, and type in your API key. And lastly is content type, and we're going to type in the value application .json. Alright, and moving down, body type, raw, content type, JSON, request content, we can keep it empty, pass response, yes, click OK. And make sure to come back to the previous module and make sure to pass response as well and click OK. And let's change the name to download video. Okay, and we're done, and over here we have completed it. Make sure to save. And up to this point, you have created a process which allows you to generate the image from your form and create an animation from it using Luma and downloading it as well. So reaching this point, we're going to run once again to take a look at what we get. So click run once, go back to our form, okay, refresh this and type it in once again. Test at Gmail, test, and click submit. And we're going to come back to make, and let's see the workflow run by itself. Okay, and now it's done. Let's take a look at what we have gotten. So you can come down over here, click data, click assets, and you can choose this video link, copy, and let's paste it. And boom, here we go. Beautiful, beautiful animation. Up to here, you can imagine what we can do with this workflow. Right, besides just creating one video, we can create multiple videos as well in future workflows. So that would be super cool. Right, but for today, we just want to change this into a GIF and send it to ourselves or to our customers. And so to finish up our workflow, we want to turn it into a GIF and send it to our email, right? And so what better way to create a GIF than to use Giphy.com. So coming to Giphy.com, you want to create an API key, and once you have that, it will be down here below. And you just have to copy this, and we just have to go back to make, and we can finish up the rest of the workflow. So coming back to make, the first thing we're going to do is to first add in another HTTP module, get a file. I'm going to select the asset video that we have over here. So we click this and click OK. But once we've gotten the URL, we're going to add in a Giphy module. We're going to upload a GIF, and this is where we can upload the video into a GIF using Giphy. We just have to follow this. Okay, and we just have to add in our username from Giphy. So my username is Mr. Dynamy. So add this in and make sure to connect your Giphy connection. And once this is done, click OK. Awesome. And we're going to move on to the next one, which is to get a GIF, right? So after uploading it, we want to download the GIF as well. So we're going to click Giphy once again. Get a Giphy ID will be GIF ID. And done. And lastly, we're going to add in the final module, which is to send it to their email. So it's a Gmail module. We're going to do create a draft. And from here, we're going to choose the folder, which is drafts. To email address will be from the very first module. We choose the email, okay, and the subject, we can call it ready set GIF. Awesome. Alright, for the content, I like to use a HTML code to create my automated emails. So what I usually like to do is to go to HTML5 editor. It's a free web page that for us to create HTML codes by typing out an email design that we want. So for example, we can say Dear John, hello, right? And you can see over here the HTML code is created at the site. So I've already created one earlier. So you can just take a look. It's a very simple one, right? And this is something that I've created before, where I can have this simple title, the simple information over here, and a link back to our GIF creator web page, and as well as the GIF that's going to be sent to them later on. Right, so once I have this HTML code, I will copy it back to my make automation. You can of course edit this code further using ChatGPT or Claude to help you enhance it even further, right? So I'm just copy this. I'm going to go back to make. I'm going to type in the content. Make sure that this link is the link to the GIF. So I'll find images downsize large URL, and this is where we get the GIF link. I also want to change it a little. I want to have an introduction to their name, right? So instead of saying hey there, I'm going to say hey. I'm going to add in the name of the form user. So I'm going to add it in from tally and click OK. Click save once, and here we go. And using this full workflow, we can transform our text prompts from our form all the way to creating a GIF sent right to our emails or right to our customer's email. Right, so let's take a look and run this once again to see what we get. I'm going to click run once. Okay, I'm going to go back to the form. I'm going to choose text once again, describe the ideal GIF. I'm going to use the Korean princess, and I'm going to give it a test Gmail. The name, I'll give it Darren. Okay, and we're going to click create and submit. Now let's let the magic happen and see what we get. Alright, now it's done. Let's take a look at our email. Close this, refresh. Boom, awesome. Take a look at this. Right, so this is for Darren. Very cool. Right, it does have the GIF, very nice GIF, the text that we want, and the email copy. So perfect. So we got this running perfectly. Awesome. So we're almost done. So hang in there a little bit. The next one to do is to also make sure that we can get images that we want converted into GIFs right away. Okay, so going back to the workflow, we want to have the bottom one, which is for images. So we're going to add in a new module. We're going to first create the first module, which is HTTP, get a file, and the URL of the file would be upload an image. File URL. Okay, so before we continue, let's add in two filters for the start. Right, the first one I'm going to add in is for the image filter. So I'm going to label this as image. The condition will be upload your image, file URL, and I'll choose basic operator exist. Make sure to add in a filter as well for the top. So I'm going to label this as text, and the condition would be similarly describe your ideal GIF as exists. Okay, done. Save. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is to use an app called Cloudinary. It's an app that's similar to Dropbox, where we can sort of get our tally images uploaded so that we can pass it through Dream Machine later on for it to animate the images for us. Right, so you just have to go to cloudinary.com, create an account. And once you have created an account, you want to make sure you get your API keys over here. So you can click onto this, view API key, and you will get all of your API key. Right, once you have this account created, what you want to also do is to go to Media Explorer, and you want to create a folder. This is where you can consolidate all your GIFs later on, and I've created a folder called GIFs over here for us to use in this automation. Okay, so once you have created an account over here, we want to go back to Make, and we're going to connect Cloudinary to our Make automation. So I'm going to search for Cloudinary, and I'm going to search for upload a resource. Okay, once this is done, you're going to click into it. And so how you're going to get the connection is to click Add, and this is where you're going to type in your API key, your API secret, and the cloud name. Right, and where the cloud name can be found is actually over here. So you do have the cloud name over here that you can copy and paste. The API key and the API secret can be found over here by clicking on to go to API keys. All right, once this is done, we want to choose file type, base64 encoded data. You want to click file, HTTP, get a file. For meme type, you want to type upload, and you want to key in the file name, and that's it. And the resource type will be image, and that's all we need to do. Click OK, and done. And once it's done, we're going to do the next thing, which is actually just to copy everything from here, from create a video all the way till the end, and you want to duplicate them. So I've duplicated them right here below for us to use. So once that is done, just going to copy this over, and here we go. Okay, and the only thing we need to change here is to give it a generic prompt, as most of the images that has been passed through Tally doesn't have a specific prompt for now. But of course, you can always make it more complex in the future. Okay, and so once we have this done, the rest will be the same. And we can just click OK. Just want to make sure that everything is mapped correctly. So you can check it over here, make sure it's done correctly. Okay, and once that's done, we have completed the second part of the workflow. So now we can test it out once again and see what happens. Okay, we're going to click Run once. We're going to go back to the GIF creator form. We're going to select image this time. I'm going to choose an image to upload into this. I'm going to choose this example over here. Okay, cool animation. Click open. All right. And we're going to give it a test email once again. A test name. All right. And here we go. Click submit. We'll come back to automation and let's see the magic happens. All right. Okay, and now it's done. Let's check out our email for the final result. Take a look. All right, beautiful. We do have the final GIF created. Now this is quite interesting as it does give us a couple more soldiers walking, but we can definitely change the prompt to make it even more effective as well. Alright, so that's the end of the tutorial today. If you have stayed to the end, I really appreciate you and I hope you found this useful. From here, you can now very easily create your own AI animation app and create GIFs for yourself or your customers at ease using this automation. If you found tutorials like this useful, do check out my other tutorials on other AI automation workflows that you can use right away today. Till then, I really appreciate you and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.